Hey everybody, I'm Reed Gray, your neighborhood expert, and this week we're going to talk about 3 things coming to Greenville, South Carolina that you need to know about. Previously we talked about the Greenville County Square redevelopment project. This week we're going to talk about a project called On the Trail. We're also going to talk about the Gateway project, and then we're also going to talk about the Church Street Bridge. So 3 things that you need to be informed about if you're considering moving to our area. As always, thanks to Harrison Williamson with Cross Country Mortgage for sponsoring this video. If you're considering moving to our area and you need a lender, I encourage you to consider reaching out to him. All right, let's check it out. Stay tuned because it's got a lot of really great information this week. All right, y'all, so the first thing that we're going to look at today is going to be On the Trail. And the reason I want to start with that is because I think it's an incredible project. Now, I'll be honest, I had heard of it. I wasn't terribly familiar with it, but I was out in the area the other day and I was showing a property, and the listing agent that did a wonderful job. They kind of put out all the literature and marketing materials about this development. I was like, man, I need to learn more about that. So here we are, did a little bit of research, and I want to share it with you because I think it's super exciting for Greenville, and it might also help you make a really great purchase here in the future if you're considering moving to Greenville, South Carolina. So what you need to know about On the Trail is that it is a roughly 240 acre site that is an old bleachery that's going to be converted to a mixed-use development. So what does that mean? There's going to be commercial, residential, there's going to be apartments, there's going to be a ton of green space, actually roughly 100 acres of green space. Now, what's really, really cool about it is that it's going to be Greenville's largest planned urban development. Now, where does this sit? So this property kind of sits roughly in the Sans Souci area. So Sans Souci is not that far from downtown. This site is actually 2.5 miles from downtown, and it's also really convenient to the Swamp Rabbit Trail, which I know that you guys love, and us living here in Greenville, South Carolina, absolutely love. So the location is spectacular. Now, this project here, as you can kind of see, it is a $2 billion, yes, with a B, $billion project. So a lot of money being invested into this project. Now, as I mentioned, it sits on the old bleachery in Greenville. So Greenville is kind of an old mill town. We've talked about that in previous videos before, but there's been a lot of EPA work done to clean up this site, make sure that it's not contaminated, it's safe for this future development. They're still working on that. There's nothing been vertically constructed yet on this site, so it's a really long project and it's kind of a long play. Looking at roughly a delivery date of 2027 right now. But if you're interested in something really, really cool to come to Greenville, South Carolina, this looks spectacular, and I hope that you're enjoying the stuff here on the screen because I think it's going to have a lot to offer. And looking at this right now, honestly, it kind of gives me the impression that like, this is a whole new city. So Greenville is going to have its own little piece of new development, but it's also going to maintain kind of its character and pay homage to that mill where it's going to be. So On the Trail, that is number 1 that you need to know about for future projects here in Greenville, South Carolina. Last thing that I want to say about that is maybe some neighborhoods that might benefit from this project is surely going to be Sans Souci, parts of kind of Berea, and maybe even Travelers Rest. So if you're looking to purchase wisely and say, hey, where is their growth? Where is their economic activity? Well, there's $2 billion worth of it right here. So let's talk about these areas and see if it may be a great fit for you. All right, so number 2, the second thing I want to talk about is going to be the Gateway project. And I actually believe this might be something that we talked about in a previous video, but I'm really intrigued by it. So the Gateway project is at the site of the old Greenville Auditorium, Greenville Memorial Auditorium. And the location to me is so interesting. So ever since I moved to Greenville, South Carolina, it's kind of just been right there at the precipice of downtown, and it's been surrounded by a green fence, and you're like, hey, what is that? Now the challenge with this site is that it's really kind of landlocked in nature. Interested to see what, maybe civil engineers able to do with those construction and traffic patterns there. But the project looks really cool. And so what you can expect with that is that it's going to be one of Greenville's tallest buildings. Now, one thing that you can kind of learn about Greenville if you haven't been here before is that our downtown area rocks and everybody loves it. But you know, if you're thinking of large cities or even compared to Charlotte, which is in fact a big city, our buildings are not nearly as tall and our downtown is not nearly as expansive, although it is growing with this project here, right? I think this is going to be kind of a large statement piece, a large welcome to downtown when you're coming off of 385 into Church Street. I think it's going to be really intriguing. So what you can expect here is it is a 29-story mixed-use development. It looks like it's progressing along. Construction is supposed to start in 2025. There's going to be roughly 342 apartments. There's going to be commercial and residential, obviously retail businesses. So I think it's going to be interesting. Now, the biggest piece is traffic. And I hope with such a significant kind of project coming here that we don't mess up our city, right? I hope that it doesn't pose too much of a traffic challenge, an increase in kind of volume of people and vehicles that we see in that area. So I think it's going to be really neat. I'm interested to see how it is executed, but I wanted to kind of talk about how Greenville is growing and where people are investing their dollars and businesses right now. So this is the second project that I think is going to be very cool to kind of watch unfold. Now, I want to jump over to Google Earth real quick. And the reason being is, as you can see, I'm zooming in, right here is the Bon Secours Wellness Arena where I'm kind of circling my mouse. Now, as you come into downtown, this is going to be Church Street right here, and that's actually going to be the next thing that we talk about. But let's keep zooming in, and you can see, boom, there we go. That's the Greenville Memorial Auditorium. That is the site, the location for this development. And you know how I was saying that it's kind of landlocked? Well, I want to point out that we're coming off of 385, roughly right here. And you got Church Street, where you can either go kind of right towards North Main or Wade Hampton, or this is going to take you more downtown or towards the Augusta Road area. I don't know what they're going to do with the traffic patterns right here. So this is going to be a very big development right here. Interested to see how that plays out. I'm glad that I'm not the person dealing with it. I have the right job. Now, next, let's talk about the Church Street Bridge. And really, it's not something super fun or exciting, but it is something that is going to kind of affect our city for a little bit, roughly a year. So the construction on the bridge is set to start on April 15th. Now, it's expected to be completed in July of 2026. So it's going to be about a year's worth of construction that is going to affect our city. And one, how people get around, and two, how people live. Now, the nice thing about it is going to make the bridge safer. It's kind of towards the end of its life expectancy. It's in disrepair. It needs some work. Also, it's going to be nice in the fact that it is going to kind of visually improve, beautify that part of town, downtown. So let's talk about this real quick. I'm going to zoom out for you. So this path right here, this is going to be the Church Street Bridge. And you can see over here is our downtown area. And then over here is going to be kind of the Cleveland Park, Augusta Road, Alta Vista neighborhoods. So it's kind of interesting looking at this view, right, where it's all green over here and it's beautiful. And then you can see like that's obviously downtown. Now I want to jump to this because this is going to tell you more about it, right? So this is what it's going to look like. Got a great rendering here. It's going to be nice, new, and improved. This is what it looks like currently, and you know, you can kind of see the patchwork on the road. This is a cool downtown development called the Davenport Condo Building, historic building. But what I want to point out to you guys is this. So this is the bridge right now, and you can see downtown is going to be this way, and then over here is going to be, so we kind of progress through. You've got the Publix on McBee, and then the McDaniel, which we did a video on that, is going to be back here in this location, and then kind of going towards Lawrence Road, which is roughly in this area. But this is a main kind of road in Greenville. So the fact that this is going to be under construction for a year is going to be a pain in the butt. Now, what does that mean for our city is that these neighborhoods, the surrounding areas, are going to be significantly impacted by this, especially kind of the Augusta Road area. I think Cleveland Street is going to be a huge pain in the butt. Said Cleveland, I think McDaniel is going to be a huge pain in the butt. So ready for that to be done, but also ready to enjoy having a safe bridge here in Greenville. So anyways, those are 3 projects coming to Greenville, South Carolina that I thought that you needed to know about. Now, if you want to talk about real estate, give me a call. I'd love to discuss your needs, your real estate needs as you consider moving to Greenville, South Carolina. And if you haven't already, there's a neighborhood quiz and it's in the description below. I encourage you to take it because I think it's going to be a wonderful resource for you when you're considering moving to Greenville, South Carolina. That's really all that we have right now, but I look forward to catching you next week as we talk about new and exciting things as it pertains to Greenville and our real estate market. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.